right, so I want to switch to. I found several quotes in here, amazing, but this one, I'm going to read it. The allure of the beat was powerful. It was exciting to do something that appeared to be vaguely dangerous and righteous. What did you mean by that?
It meant that there were, I guess what I felt was not a lot of people would do the beat because it was hard. Cops were generally didn't like to talk. It was hard to navigate the police department in that way. You never got help. You rarely got help from the public information office. The guy was pretty notorious. He was also a notorious sexist. So any woman that called got full on flirtation, that kind of thing.
Oh,
Um,
Jesus.
he was often never at his office. He was always outside at the coffee shop across the street. But so cops were pretty belligerent in terms of talking to the press. There was this code, to not talk to the press. Um, so it made stories hard to do. Also, you were doing reporting on, especially at the time when there were so many murders, that there was a lot of violence in the city. And so there was this impression that it can be dangerous work. It was rare for me. I rarely felt danger. I was mugged a couple times, like in the course of reporting, like twice. Once early on, in such a dumb way that no one was sympathetic to me in the office. Everyone was like, "You're ridiculous that you did this." I let a pimp in my car. It was so dumb. Anyways, and then it was awful. And then it was only later I did a story about Marion Barry where I was in his neighborhood, and that got a little dodgy with some people there. But other than that, it wasn't too dangerous. But there was just the idea that it was possibly dangerous. There was an allure to that, like you know. Um, I think mainly I was drawn to it because the stories were hard to do, and that I was learned early on that when you're in journalism and starting out, you don't want to do what everyone else is doing. You have to do the stories that are hard, uh, and you get respect that way, and you get the feeling of being needed in the office. Like, oh, he's doing this really important work. I was really encouraged by the editors too. You get your cues from your bosses, and I definitely was supported by my editors at the time, David Carr, Eric Wemple, Michael Schaefer. They all supported the work and really wanted me to do it. So if they had said, we don't want you to do this anymore, I would have done something else. But, the feedback I was getting was positive too. So, and then the righteousness came with, hey, you're outing a bad cop. You get to say that cop killed that kid. You get to write about these four cops that were brutalized a whole neighborhood for decades. For a decade, there was something righteous about that. You weren't writing fluff pieces, and all the stories were serious. All the stories had really big conflicts. So that was
Okay,
the
I
alert.
know you talked a little bit about it earlier, but you talk about covering the drug war and the excesses of the drug war. I feel like
Yeah.
little has changed. When people talk about Breonna Taylor's death and it was horrific, I don't think people, once again, we don't get to the root causes of anything. To me, that was a drug war death. They were
Yeah.
merely going in that apartment, and we don't know all the facts, but I
Yeah.
think they're going to come out and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. But they were strictly going after evidence retrieval.